I would like to introduce to you somebody who has the ability to be a genuine change agent, a genuine agent for hope in this country, Dr. Jill Stein, seeking the candidacy for the Green Party of the United States for President of the United States of America. Please welcome Jill Stein.
Thank you so much to Ben Mansky, who himself has been such a force for change and for democracy and for the workers' rights movement and really the development of an incredible social movement and a political movement in the form of the Green Party as the electoral force for that social movement across the country. So it's really an honor to be here today with all of you, and especially to be here with that team from Massachusetts that has worked so hard to provide an alternative for justice, for democracy, for single-payer health care, for a real global vision of justice and peace. And we have worked to provide that in several elections over the past 10 years. In many ways, we've been ahead of the curve. It's very exciting now to see that the curve is catching up to us. And we were just delighted to be able to bring our team to this incredible historic moment when, as a country, we are asking, what should our political system be about? Because what it's about now is not the country that we intend to be. So we stand here today at a time of great crisis in our nation and a time of incredible potential for change. We're facing unprecedented problems, converging problems in our economy, our environment, in human rights, and in the quest for peace. The American people are ready to meet those challenges, but so many of us, I dare say most of us, have lost confidence in our political system, in the political establishment, and in the leaders in Washington, D.C. Because those leaders have given us what? Massive bailouts for Wall Street, layoffs for Main Street, declining wages for workers, wars for oil abroad, and attacks on Medicare and Social Security, the foundation of our justice system and a secure future. They're privatizing education, rolling back civil liberties and racial justice, plundering the environment, and driving us towards a calamity of climate change. But in response, the American people are standing up in a way we haven't seen in generations, and they are providing the leadership that's not coming from the political elite. And they are realizing, we are all realizing, that we the people have to take charge, because the political parties that are serving the top 1% are not going to solve the problems that the rest of us face. And we need people in Washington who will refuse to be bought by lobbyist money and for whom change is not just a slogan. My name is Jill Stein, and all of this is why I'm here today to announce my candidacy for President of the United States. I'm running because America deserves a New Deal, a Green New Deal that provides a secure future for we the people and the planet that we depend on. So here are 5 key pieces to the Green New Deal that we must achieve, that times demand, that justice demands, and we can achieve them with your support. So first, it's time to end unemployment in America. It's not only a crisis for our families and our communities, it's an incredible drag on our economy. Like FDR's New Deal that helped us out of the Great Depression, the Green New Deal directly creates jobs. It will put 25 million people back to work, it will end the Bush-Obama recession, and it will jumpstart the green economy for the 21st century. The jobs that it creates will build a stable, renewable energy economy that provides real national security and makes wars for oil obsolete. It will ensure that our energy dollars stay right here in America, creating jobs. And it will build public transportation, clean manufacturing, and sustainable agriculture as other pieces of this sustainable economy. Second, It's time for the United States, as the richest country in the world, to catch up to the rest of the community of developed nations and provide health care for everyone as a human right. We can do this through a Medicare for all system that will not only provide quality, comprehensive health care for everyone, but it will save us trillions of dollars by streamlining the massive and wasteful health insurance bureaucracy and by putting an end to runaway medical inflation. Third, we can forgive the crushing student debt burden and liberate an entire generation of young people who are being turned into indentured servants. And we can provide tuition-free education from kindergarten through college, which is an investment in our future that will pay back enormously. Fourth, we can establish an immediate moratorium on home foreclosures. And we can stop predatory banks from throwing one more family out of their homes. And we can require these banks to adjust the balances on the principal to the current market value, so that banks and not just homeowners are bearing the burden of the bank's own fraud and abuse that started the foreclosure crisis to start with. And finally, we can bring the troops home from Iraq and Afghanistan now, and that means all the troops, including the private security contractors. This allows us to redirect trillions of dollars that have been wasted over the past decade. Instead, we can direct them to the urgent human needs here at home instead of endless expanding wars and the bloated military. By entering into the presidential dialogue, we will force real issues into the debate and build the movement for all the critical solutions that the Wall Street politicians are trying to keep off the table. Because if they get on the table, we're going to bring them into reality. They are too good to stop, which is why the Wall Street politicians do not want us to mention them. But we are going to do exactly that. We are going to give people a choice and a voice in this election and enable them to go to the polls and vote to take their government back and get it working for we the people. I want to say a few words now as a mother and a medical doctor, because that's the perspective from which I entered the political process about 20 years ago, and that's the perspective that keeps me in this process. As a doctor, I saw that our healthcare system, our broken healthcare system, was desperately failing to meet the needs of the people who urgently need it. And as a mother, I was especially concerned about the new disease epidemics descending on our children, a rising tide of obesity and diabetes and asthma and cancer and learning disabilities and autism and more. As a practicing physician, I became impatient with simply dispensing pills in the clinic and sending people back out to the very things in the community that were causing those problems in the first place. The air pollution, the toxic chemicals, community violence, degraded nutrition, the car-centered transportation system, and above all, poverty. I thought, if only our elected officials knew how many human tragedies could be completely prevented by fixing those conditions in the community, I thought surely they would do something. So I spent years working to persuade elected officials to act, but slowly I realized that in this system, in order to persuade elected officials, you need to shower them, not with information, not with heartfelt community concerns, not with strong constituencies in every community that was begging for those changes. Instead, you needed to shower them with bundles of campaign checks. And that was my wake-up call, that if we want to prevent needless harm to our children, if we want to get the health care system we need, or the education system, or the jobs, we need first to fix the broken political system. 20 years later, as a mother and a medical doctor, I see that our kids are still struggling, not only with an epidemic of diseases that they should never have to have in the first place, but in every aspect of life. struggling for decent schools, to stay safe in the streets, to afford a college education, to find a job and to get out of debt, and to have a livable climate to inhabit decades into the future. But they are losing the battle on every front. So people ask me, why do I keep fighting political battles in a rigged system? And the answer is simple. I keep fighting because when it comes to our children, mothers don't give up. Nor do fathers or grandmothers or grandfathers or sisters or brothers, for that matter. And young people today have not given up. And they are the ones that are really carrying the burden of this rigged political system. If they're not giving up, we're not giving up. And in fact, young people are not only not giving up, they are standing up like never before, as we see so clearly in Zuccotti Square, and Freedom Square, and Dewey Square, and Grant Park, and Ogawa Plaza, and hundreds of other Occupy encampments around the country. And just like in the civil rights movement, when the young people stand up, the nation changes forever. And if more of us take a lesson from them, we are going to be an unstoppable force for what needs to happen in this country, in this election, and far beyond into the future. And that's why I'm here today, to ask you to be a part of this campaign, because we need the integrity and the vision of everyday people to create a future that works for all of us. Let's open up the doors on Capitol Hill and get the big money out and let the people back in to guide our way forward. That means the school teachers and the nurses and the truck drivers and the electricians and the students and the secretaries, the postal workers, the factory workers, the musicians, the farmers and the pharmacists, the people who repair and teach and cook and heal and do the honest work. Because when the people do the governing, not the lobbyists and the Wall Street executives, then we'll have a government that we can trust. So please go to my website, jillstein.org, and find out more about our people-powered campaign. And while you're there, join us and become part of it. It's time for a Green New Deal in America, a job for every worker, health care, education, and housing for every American, a livable planet for our children. On November 6th next year, let's take our democracy back and build the secure green future that we deserve and that is within our reach. Thank you very much.